blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen. Cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blursed. My name is Hayden Cummins, and I'm joined alongside Blake Dodd. What's up, man? We're back.
What's up, everybody? Happy Pi Day, everyone. It's Tuesday, 3/14, so 3.14 for all you math nerds out there. Yeah.
Head over to your Pi.
59. Yeah, 265. I don't know what the rest of the numbers, but it's something like that. Happy to be back. Sorry, everyone, we weren't here last week. We have some upgrades. If you're watching on the tube right now,
yes. If you
no further.
I'm actually really nervous because I've never put anything like this together before. So if you haven't looked at the YouTube before, check it out. We're going to share this on Instagram and stuff later too, so you can see our new layout, our new intro, our animated intro that I threw together.
That's pretty good.
I got addicted to Adobe products over the weekend, so that's why you have some amateurish looking
shout out Alex
illustrations. Yeah, shout out Alex. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous to present this to the world, but yeah, it's
cool.
We missed a couple weeks there, or last week. It's been happening more and more often, but we're working through getting our schedule set. Unfortunately, Aaron couldn't join us this week for work issues, but we're back and we're ready to sink into baseball season here, and we got a lot going on in Atlanta sports, which is great.
Oh my gosh.
Especially today, Monday, the day we're recording. There's been a litany of Falcons free agent moves going on, and we're excited to
Isn't
discuss
it legal tampering like the funniest thing in the world? Like that it within itself, it's it's oxymoron. It's ironic, like legal tampering, but
it's like they had to establish that, or else everybody's just breaking the rules anyways.
So, I mean, but it's so kind of already breaking the rules anyways because they announced these deals within the first 10 minutes.
So are they just like not official? Is that what that means?
So the way, yeah, they haven't signed, and none of the deals that happened so far have been signed yet. So
okay,
theoretically, everyone who has said they reportedly signed a deal today could back out. Not the trades, but all of the like the reported signed free agents, which I think has happened before. I know in the NBA it's happened more often than in football, but
it seems like something that would happen to the Jags because
someone or the Jets or
yeah.
The funny part was all day was I think it just got has it been announced yet that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets, or was it still like
I heard it was confirmed by Trey Wingo, so that's a pretty stout source there.
But I thought ESPN came out afterward and said, actually, hold your horses. It's not.
You're more in the loop than I am, probably.
So I said, while Trey Wingo, who first broke the Rodgers to the Jets progress, says it's done, ESPN and NFL Network are saying it hasn't happened yet. That was 2 hours ago. So, I mean, there hasn't been any update since then. I heard someone jokingly saying that, what's Aaron Rodgers like waiting for? Because the only deal he's got right now is to get traded to the Jets. So
yeah,
it's either that or retire. Like, is he waiting for another team to swoop in?
It's honestly not a bad move. The Jets have been kind of prepped to be good for a couple of years now. They just haven't had a quarterback. So
for sure.
I mean, it's going to work out well if he goes there. I just want it to go ahead and happen so we don't have to keep fucking hearing about it, because it is every offseason we're hearing about Aaron Rodgers and all kinds of quirky dumb shit, like his darkness retreat that he had to go on to come to the realization.
Is he still your favorite player?
Oh God, no.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, when he became a COVID denier, then I was like, okay, I can't go down this path with you anymore, Aaron. This is where our journey together ends.
Our line is crossed, right? Yeah, it's too far.
So
yeah, he's a weird dude. He can sling it though.
I mean, the funny part is hell of football player, that's for sure.
How similar is he to Brett Favre? If you really think about it, he's following the same exact footsteps.
I can't wait for him to defraud really poor people in like 5 years. So
he might be already doing it. You really just never know. Yeah. I mean,
he's gonna start doing some Wrangler commercials.
He's been defrauding poor fans for that team for years. Oof. They should have more than one Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's not his fault. I won't say it's his fault, but
no. I mean, Mike McCarthy wasn't the best
coach. Something else that's new for us that we should talk about is we've created a Discord.
Yes.
A Blursed Sports.
If you're looking on YouTube, right here in the bottom right corner, I'm pointing to it. join our Discord. So that's open for anybody to join. It's free. It's just
There'll be a link in the description.
You can join in there and you can get notifications from us or other people that are commenting on what's going on with Atlanta sports, and we'll just be chatting in there.
Yeah. If it's something you want to talk about, if you want something you want us to talk about on the pod, mention it. We might bring it up. There's a Blurs of the Week section. So if you have ideas for us, feel free to slap them in there.
Any
but we really want to grow a
really.
community.
Yeah.
No, this is for you guys, and it's also for us to hopefully form a community. Like, that's part of this. So we're really excited to have some more like-minded Atlanta sports loving individuals. Because we've realized, like, a lot of the communities I felt like I was part of, man, you get flamed on Twitter by people you thought you that you're just trying to be nice.
I
mean, I guess I deserved it, but Mike, for anyone wondering, Mike Bell flamed me on Twitter today, and I guess I deserved it.
I don't think so. I think he was
not in that tweet. I didn't deserve it in that tweet. He was being a little sensitive. I agree with that, but I called him a boomer in the past, so maybe that's what it was for. You never know.
Mike Bell doesn't forget.
Also, enjoy my sunburnt nose, everybody. It does look like it's bleeding a little bit. I actually was putting aloe on it, and when I touched my skin, it started bleeding. So I may have sun poisoning. I don't know.
Jesus, Blake.
Yeah, I put on for my city, so it's
what was it? It was the Chambly Atlanta United viewing
watch party. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was a great turnout, and we won 3-0. So go Atlanta United, go Five Stripes.
3-0, as the British say.
Yes, the best start in Atlanta United history, and we'll get a little bit more into that when we talk about the Five Stripes. Do you have
any other announcements we want to say before we get after it?
I'm trying to think. Not that I can think of. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Let's do Blursed of the Week.
Let's get in it.
Blursed of the Week.
Blursed of the Week.
All right. I'll lead off this week, and it's not something that actually happened. It happened in a dream. I'm so concerned about Acuna playing in the World Baseball Classic for Venezuela that I had a dream that he fouled a ball off his foot and he broke his foot, and then he had to miss like the whole season. So that's where my subconscious is, I guess. You had a dream
about that?
Yes. I don't know why, but yeah. So that's how important he is to the Braves. I guess so that's the blessed side, is like we have a really good player that I would be so stressed about him getting hurt before the season starts that I would dream about it. So have a nightmare, I suppose.
That is awesome. I think my Blurs one was going to be us not being on last week because we kind of didn't let anyone know we were doing that. So sorry, guys. It's Blurs for y'all. Maybe it's a blessing y'all didn't have to hear our voice, but also sad that you didn't hear our voice.
Whoa, hey.
Specifically Aaron's voice, and you get another week without it. So there you go. But my Blurs, I'm going to be here just like Atlanta sports fans. Be grateful that Terry's going out there and getting these free agents. This has never happened to us. Like, we haven't had a free agency class like this before. So I'm tired of already seeing I see complaining already about what's going on. It's like, man, like they have a vision. They know what they're doing. Like up to this point, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't trust Terry. And if you really think about it, like take the Saints, for example, and this could like segue into our Falcons talk, but take the Saints, for example. They've been pushing the can down for years, hoping to win a championship, keep pushing that dead cap money, And now they're getting to a point where they got to pay the piper, and they're not going to be as competitive a team as they think they are. And they never pushed the rebuild button. They never did it. And I think it's going to bite them in the butt. And if you look at Terry, he could have came in here when Matt Ryan's your quarterback and be like, all right, let's just try to revamp and go. But no, he ripped off the Band-Aids, and for 2 years of 7-10, awful. It was tough to be a fan. You had a ton of cap, and now we're actually seeing a team get put together. Like, imagine what they can do with a full roster. I'm pretty excited.
This is the year. It's all going to come together, I hope. So, you know what? We're already there. Let's talk about the Falcons. If I can find the button.
Falcons.
There it is.
Falcons. So I would like to remind everyone that we did a free agency wish list. This was back, I think, in February. And my number one target on my wish list was Jesse Bates, the third safety, Cincinnati Bengals. And guess who we reportedly have signed a contract with? Jesse Bates, the third. So, I mean, I just couldn't, like, that on itself is the icing on the cake. The really funny part to me, though, was the way the day started with the Jonnu Smith trade for the 7th round pick.
Jonnu Smith. Yeah, not Jonnu Smith. Which I think is a great deal. I mean, the cap hit's a little high, but he already said he wants to restructure his deal, which shows you he wants to be in Atlanta. Yeah, he had all of his. Oh, sorry. So if you guys aren't familiar with Jonnu Smith, he was kind of like a hot rookie prospect when he came through. I forget where he came out of school, but he played for the Titans. And he was like the back. He was supposed to be the second tier behind Delaney Walker and like become that. And it was when Art was in Tennessee, so there's some familiarity there. And then he kind of fizzled, went to New England, and he was supposed to revitalize his career there. Fizzled again, along with the rest of the Patriots team. And now he finds his way in Atlanta, back with Art Smith as this backup tight end to Kyle Pitts.
Right. And some people aren't like happy about this trade. So like, well, he hasn't been that great. And Patriots, plus, I'll be honest, they weren't. Their offense has not been great in New England the last 2 years, and they don't know how to. And they haven't known how to scheme him open. Like his 2 years of Art, he got 439 yards, 448 yards. He had a long of 57 and a long of 63. They do a lot of tight end screens with him, and he had 8 touchdowns in his 2020 season. Like
that was Art knows he was the backup tight end.
He was the backup, and he's the backup again now to Kyle Pitts. And some people, like all you fantasy nerds out there who think this is going to hurt Kyle Pitts, open your eyes, man. Kyle Pitts is a weapon. Like he's supposed to be used all over the field, and having Johnny Smith makes it where you can actually move Kyle Pitts all over the field now. Like it opens up your arsenal so much.
Yeah, exactly. That was my take too. Was like, now we can run those 2 tight end sets, and nothing against Mecole Pruitt.
To be fair to Mecole, though, he wasn't really starting until Kyle was already out.
That's
so,
true.
Like, you know what I mean? It was Parker Hesse and Frisker. I don't think we've re-signed him yet. There's a chance we do, though. There's a lot of Falcons fans asking to re-sign him because we need one more tight end.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah,
it'd be cool to get him back.
Not Felipe, maybe.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm kind of over that.
But anyways, yeah, so it's just another target. He's going to be like, if he's on the field, he's probably the last option, hopefully, if we bring in another good wide receiver. But it gives a lot of flexibility as to where we're going to use Kyle Pitts in different situations. It's going to allow him to slot wide in the slot as well.
We better depth now too. If another injury happens, like you have next man up.
No, he's a serviceable starting tight end in the league. He's not a stud, but by any means, but he's serviceable.
No, and he's a good athlete. Like he's only 27 years old. He'll be 28 by the time the season starts.
He's been around a long time. I feel like,
2017 was his first year. But I think it was a great trade to start off the day, and it wasn't the thing everyone was looking for. But then we followed that right up with a Chris Lindstrom extension, which, I mean, we all wanted Chris Lindstrom to come back. He is arguably the best guard in the league. They set the new record for the most money ever paid to a guard at $105 million, 5-year, $105 million. But I mean, he's worth every penny. Yeah. He is worth every penny, and it shows that like Terry's. I don't know. This would make Aaron happy. If Aaron was here, he would be saying the same thing. It's like you have to shore up the lines, O-line and D-line. Like that's how you win games. And another thing better to bring back Chris Lindstrom there.
I mean, if you develop that talent in-house on the lines, both sides of the ball, you need to retain them if you're going to build sustained success. And that's what we're doing with that contract, and I have no problem with it. I mean, typically offensive line is a very low injury position. And I don't know. I think the longevity of offensive linemen is pretty good compared to like skill position players as well. So, he's going to age well with the contract, I think.
Yeah, I think he was like our Walter Payton player of the year. Like he's like a big advocate to our community, and he's also the best player on the field as well. Like, I mean, he's up there with who's the guy from San Francisco, Trent Williams, the offensive tackle. Like when people talk about him being
sounds right,
the best like player in the league. I think it's Trent Williams. Hold up. Yeah, offensive tackle for his 49ers. People say he's the best NFL player, like out there. Like Lindstrom's up there in that conversation as one of the best football players in the league. We follow that up with the re-signing of Keith Smith. This is Cordell Patterson tweeted out yesterday. He said, all I want to happen is for us to re-sign Keith Smith, and we did it. So, hey, we finally got a guy that he wanted.
Oh, my God. Just to Cordell Patterson is hilarious on Twitter. He's like acting as a pseudo GM, just sending messages about every free agent. Basically, he's like, "Oh, you better just come to Atlanta," or like, we're gonna trade for D-Hop, or just random stuff like that.
Like if he wants to after he retires, let's let him be like a what would you call it for the team, like a recruiter or something. I don't know. Like let him stay a part of this team forever.
Bring him into the front office. Yeah, he's a good fit with the culture of Atlanta too.
He's a culture fit. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I love him. And then we follow that up with another person that was on our wish list. If you go back to that episode, which is David Onyemata. So he's a defensive tackle. He actually had the 8th highest interior pass rush rate of any interior. And that's him paired up with Shy Tuttle, and now he's going to be paired up alongside Grady Jarrett. So interior D line is going to feast, like actually feast. And you got Timmy Horn backing him up now. So the depth there is incredible.
And I think we had discussed him multiple times actually, because when we hired Ryan Nielsen, we discussed that he might follow him, which has come to fruition, which is really nice.
Yeah, we said he was our number one target, and if we missed out on him, it was Shy Tuttle, and we got the number one of the guy. The contract was I have it right here. $12 million signing bonus. It's a $8 million cap hit in 2023, a $12.5 million cap hit in 2024, and a $14.5 million cap hit in 2025. So it's backloaded. But they front loaded Jesse Bates' contract in comparison, which is like really good for us, honestly, because that means you're going to get the most bang for your buck the first year. And as he dwindles off a little bit, so will the money. So it kind of helps you move him if you need to later in his contract. And I don't know. I think I saw a lot of people complaining on Twitter, respect to you Falcons fans out there complaining. They're saying we haven't got a pass rush yet. Well, to be frank, no one has signed one of the elite pass rushers yet. You still have, I have a list right here of all the pass rushers available. The only ones that have signed are Brandon Graham. He re-signed with the Eagles. Okora Onkwo signed a 3-year deal with the Browns.
Pretty good.
Brent Urban signed a year, re-signed with the Ravens, and Chase Winovich will sign in Texas. But that's it. Like, that's literally all. Like, there's been no big names assigned. So Marcus Davenport still out there, Robert Quinn still out there, Zach Allen still out there, Carlos Dunlap still out there. So one, calm down. There's still pass rushers out there. But two, by helping the interior, your exterior will also get better pass rushing now. And you have Lorenzo Carter that we re-signed. He's coming back. And then you also have your 2 rookies from last year, Adekabi and Malone, that I don't know. I feel pretty good about them. I feel like they're going to be good pass rushers. Not saying we shouldn't also get someone else, but I think we already have a good base for our defensive line.
Yeah, and like, guys, we still have the draft coming up too. And so if we fix all these other items that were outstanding for us, so like a wide receiver 2, interior defensive lineman, etc.
Secondary Jesse Bates, yeah. Offensive line still, because
So like we address those some of those items in free agency, and then we have the draft as well. And typically edge rushers hit a lot higher when they're early draft picks. So like maybe that's where we're going to aim. And you know, with some of the news that's come out of UGA the last couple weeks, Jalen Carter's draft stock has decreased dramatically.
Right.
So I don't know if
we go Jalen
there.
Carter now after
I don't know.
The signing of Onyemata. Yeah, like just because that's another D tackle. I mean, I don't see why not, because you can never have enough, and you could always.
Yeah, and it's like what you said to Mike Bell. Like, if you have a stronger interior, then more assets on the offensive line is going to have to be dedicated to keeping them contained, and then the edge is going to progress too.
We're also going to blitz a little bit more under Nielsen too. Like, I think we're going to dial up pressure. I mean, we forget that our new defense coordinator is a D-line specialist. Like, that's what so I'm sure he has a lot of say on where we're going with this money. And you can tell, like, he brought in one of his guys from New Orleans who's going to help really bolster this defense.
You got to invest in the trenches. But I've also seen Nolan Smith, his draft stock has increased dramatically.
Skyrocketed.
He ran a 4.4.
Yeah.
Like a 4.39. I think
it was 4.39.
Which is incredible. So I've seen some mock drafts that have him going to Atlanta now too.
Todd McShay mocked him to Atlanta,
which is pretty incredible.
Dude, how awesome of a job is that? Where that's your job is to be wrong every year.
I just guess,
just to be wrong every year.
You have like the top 30, you just switch around. Like you have like a randomizer that you use, and then you just throw it out there and get, I don't know, 100,000 impressions.
But something else too is like you're talking about. We still haven't. Caleb McGarry's still out in the free agency. There's been a couple of tackles get signed today. So you had Mike McGlinchey. He was with the 49ers. He signed with the Broncos, 5-year, $87.5 million. Juwan Taylor, who was formerly with the Jaguars, signed a 4-year, $80 million with the Chiefs. So that means Orlando Brown's not going back to Kansas City. So he's the number one tackle still out there. Caleb McGarry's still out there. And then Andrew Wiley signed a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Commanders. So I don't know if we're bringing Caleb McGarry back or not yet. If we don't, I have to think we're going O-line in the draft just because you need that tackle position filled.
Yeah.
But if we do bring Caleb McGarry back, then you're probably going to go edge in the draft. Like, that's the thing right now is wherever this money goes, because we still have about, what did I say earlier? 30 million left?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I think so. And then 12 million of that has to go. Let me check. Let me double check. I don't want to be wrong. Hold up. I know about 12 million goes to your rookie class every year. So we have between 33 and 34 million left after the Jesse Bates signing, theoretical signing. So
That's
you have about
it's not
20 million to
insignificant.
play with.
Yeah.
No, and you want to keep some of that money, obviously, for midseason signings. And I mean, this is the beginning of free agency. You still have the June 1st cuts. Like, that's when we probably pick up Matt Ryan.
There you go. On the cheap.
I had that conversation today with a coworker. Like, where does Matt Ryan go? Because the Colts owe him like $20-something million this year.
Oh my God.
There's no way they pay him that. Like, they're cutting him.
Yeah.
No.
This will be some dead cap.
So he's either going to sign with us and retire or sign somewhere else to be a backup. Like, there's no way he can sign somewhere to start, right? I just don't see that happening.
No, I don't think somebody. The Colts brought him in because they thought he had 1 to 2 good years left where he could lead them to be a playoff team. But it doesn't seem like he has that anymore. The Colts, they let down.
The Colts also were,
which is not all on him. But I don't know. I don't think he's starting caliber. He's a good backup though. It's a good backup to have on a good team. So we'll see. Maybe he comes.
But does he want to be a backup? You know what I mean? Like, if he did, I feel like it'd be in Atlanta. But did we sour that too much? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There may need to be some apologies had in that regard. But I'll say this about the Falcons free agency so far. It seems to be a bit of urgency from Terry,
absolutely.
And you got to imagine there's pressure from Arthur Smith as well to go out and get some of these guys. Just because this is the make or break year for Art. If we don't make the playoffs, I think that's it for him. And
you think so?
If we don't make the playoffs, that's it. We're in the weakest division in football, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think we have to perform. Tom Brady's done; he's retired. And the Saints are in cap hell. They just brought in
Derek Carr.
This is their new starting quarterback, which is basically, I don't know, a duplicate of Jameis Winston. I don't know. Maybe he's a little bit better
than Jameis. Yeah.
A little, not much.
I would say he's a top half quarterback. He's top 16.
Sure. And then we have the Panthers, which that's, you know what? Let's just go into that. I had it on my
Wait, before the Panthers,
Uh-oh.
we did re-sign Bradley Pinion as a punter. He's a really good punter for us. We haven't had great punters in the past, so it was really cool to lock him up for 3 more years. So I gotta throw that out there.
That's why you listen to Blursed, folks, because Blake is so far in the weeds. He's gonna let you know when we re-sign our punter.
Yeah, man. That's what you're here for.
All right. So I don't know if you have the Panthers trade up. The Panthers traded up this past weekend with the Bears to get the #1 overall pick, and it was a haul that the Bears brought back for it.
Do you have it up?
No, I'm not. I have too many windows up. I'm not going to be able to search it, so I'm going to rely on you.
I got you. Yeah, I'm going to scroll up. So the interesting part about this, too, is did you also see, before we talk about them, too, while I'm looking for this, the Buccaneers apparently are interested in bringing in, what's his name? Baker Mayfield. So we may be playing against Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, and then CJ Stroud?
Yeah. Honestly, of those 3, I'm most concerned about CJ Stroud.
Right.
Because that's definitely who I think they should use. But also the Panthers have already discussed trading that pick that they just traded for. So they're already discussing getting rid of the pick. I was like, what could they possibly net gain out of that? They may end up losing a pick out of that.
It doesn't make much sense. So here's the deal. They traded for the first pick. They gave up the #9 pick, a 2nd-round pick, a first in 2024, a 2nd in 2025, and DJ Moore. So 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore, which is basically 3 firsts. You basically gave up 3 firsts.
It's just been their best player this past year after they traded CMC.
Yeah, so I just feel like I just didn't feel like there was a quarterback in this draft worth giving up that much for, like maybe next year with Williams or Mays, because I feel like they're both better. I think Caleb Williams is probably the next best thing come out. But who knows? Like, you got to get your guy. You know what I mean? Like, if that's your guy. Man. But it just seems like way too much, especially when CJ Stroud hasn't even been projected to go first overall. Like, it's been Bryce Young.
It's hard. I mean, all positions are hard, but quarterbacks more so. It's impossible to find a sure thing. And, like, looking back the last 15 years, like, who's been the most sure thing? Probably, like, Joe Burrow and Andrew Luck, one of which retired after like 5 years. So, like, I don't know. It's just hard to say what's going to happen. As far as like my value, I don't I don't like going the Bryce Young route if I'm them, because it's a size issue. Not that he can play. There's no doubt about it. But seeing Tua this past year and how that dismantled the Dolphins, how, it's not that he's done anything, to deserve this type of hate. But, I mean, he just gets injured a lot because he's little. He's a small guy, and he gets thrown around, and, his head hits the ground hard. Who knows how many years he has left in the league because of that.
Right.
So we'll have to see. But that's why I would stay away from Bryce Young, and I would get one of the big guys, Levis out of Kentucky, or C.J. Stroud. I was very impressed with C.J. Stroud in
the Georgia game.
Yeah.
I've talked to other people who said he wasn't like that all season, but he was the only person to do it to the Georgia Bulldogs the whole season.
It was
he
a damn near
person.
perfect game from him. Like every ball was a dot. And
he shows the potential. Like he's showing potential against not that they're NFL defense, because they're not, but there's NFL players on that field that will be So
a lot of them, but probably at least half, probably 3/4,
maybe more. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But that's the thing, is he's playing against NFL caliber players before they get to their peak. But still, that's his best defense he played all year, and he played a perfect game
in the biggest game of his career too. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I also want to point out too, in the past, I can't think of the last time, and maybe it's just because I'm not good at thinking about this, but the last time trading up for the quarterback worked out for a team, because you got to think Sam Darnold, that did not work out for the Jets.
Yeah,
Trey Lance is still a question mark. Right. We've talked about this. We talked about the Falcons trading up. Trey Lance still a question mark. They're talking about now, because Jimmy Garoppolo got signed by the Raiders, that who's the Brock Purdy?
Yep.
They're saying he will be the starter next year.
Yeah.
And that Trey Lance and they signed Sam Darnold will be his backups. So,
jeez.
Yeah,
luckily, Kyle Shanahan, when you're a coach like Kyle Shanahan, you can get it done with whoever is at quarterback, so it doesn't hurt them as much as another team. Some teams are very dependent on quarterback.
Well, their team's so talented too.
Yes.
Let's not sugarcoat it. That defense is top defense in the league.
Well, they're one of the best teams in the league, for sure.
Yeah,
and they've shown that over and over again. But they've done that with, league average, maybe.
A quarterback play. Yes, I agree with that.
So
I would say Jimmy G's right there in the league average. Yeah, for sure. And then the Raiders went out and got him for a 3-year deal. So that tells me the Raiders are going to probably draft someone in the first round to sit behind Jimmy G, which, and I want to bring that up because here's the kind of thing for the Falcons now. You had Carolina trade up to 1. That's a quarterback. Houston's picking 2, quarterback. Arizona's 3. They won't be taking a quarterback. That's okay. Colts at 4, quarterback. Vegas at 7, quarterback. You have Seattle at 5 and Detroit at 6. I don't think either one of them pick a quarterback. They just re-signed Geno. And Detroit came out and said that Goff's their guy right now. So if they're taking a quarterback, it's probably later. I don't see them taking one really this year.
Yeah.
Goff played incredible last year. He had a good season.
No, I mean, they went on a run at the end of the year too. So there's no reason to shortchange him. He's a solid quarterback.
So then you have Atlanta at 8. So you have 4 quarterbacks going before you. So that gives you only 3 players not playing quarterback position come off the board. You got to think Will Anderson's one of them. You got to think that Tyrese guy out of Texas Tech. I can't think of his name, but he's a defensive end. He'd probably be the other one.
Edge rusher.
And then will it be Jalen Carter, question mark, or will it be someone else? I don't know yet, but it puts the Falcons in a really good spot to take the best available cornerback if that's what we want to do, the best available tackle if that's what we want to do, or the best available defensive lineman if that's what we want to do. So all options are open.
Man, if you hit on a solid rookie cornerback too, just look at Sauce Gardner this past year, which that's a generational talent.
That's Darrell Revis right there. Yeah.
Oh my God. But you see that with younger cornerbacks, after they've been in the league for 5 years, usually they're on the downslope after that. It's maybe they lose speed and that little bit of edge makes that difference. But I mean, if you hold on to a guy like Josh Norman or
Patrick Peterson. I said Patrick Peterson had a great career.
Peterson probably had the longest window of those guys.
Yeah, he had I feel like Darrell Revis had a really long career too at cornerback. But you're right. Josh Norman's wasn't even as long as you probably think it was. If you think. I'm trying to think of other ones. Stephon Gilmore. Is that
who's the Falcons one that went?
D'Angelo Hall.
Yep, D'Angelo Hall. There it is.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah,
damn, you're good. I love playing with
Brent Grimes also was really good until he went to Miami and kind of went downhill. Because that's the thing. Cornerbacks sometimes just lose it. And I think part of it, though, is the secondary you play with. That's why I think it was important for the Falcons to go out and get Jesse Bates this year. It's going to help Richie Grant be better. It's going to help Terrell be better. Casey Hayward's coming back. I think it bolsters the whole defense by having just a strong secondary in general.
But real quick before we switch off, going back to the Panthers trade, it is bold to trade your best wide receiver when you're bringing in a rookie quarterback to start too. It's kind of mean, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Not only that, they're gutting their youth.
Your
their
offensive
draft
line's
picks.
been bad too. So like you lose your best draft picks for the next couple of years. You also lost your best offensive player, and your offensive line's already not that great. So I mean, they're hitting the reset button. I think that's what we're doing. I don't think they're competing this next year.
Wait,
I just don't.
Who did they bring in as their head coach?
Frank Reich.
Oh my God! See, all these different factors. Like I was saying earlier, Tom Brady retiring, Saints, spending money all willy-nilly and not paying attention to their cap, not being able to bring anybody in, and then the Panthers just sending all their capital and their best player for this first overall pick, which is a rookie quarterback. Probably. If the Falcons do not win the division this year, there's something wrong at the head. You got to cut the head off the snake.
I mean, I don't know if we win the division. I don't know. Well, listen, Ritter's only because Ritter's still a question mark.
I'm not saying it's a sure thing we do. I'm saying we should, and if it doesn't happen, there's an issue.
So your expectation is to win the division just right now?
Yes.
On paper?
Yes, 100%.
Today.
They should.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying that's my prediction either. So we'll have to get to that after.
I understand.
See what happens with the draft and everything.
See, I'm still on a toss-up between us and the Saints, only because the Saints, you bring Derek Carr to an offense that still has pretty good weapons. They're already talking about if Michael Thomas is healthy, like the offense is, like they had
That's
Olave.
An assumption, though.
Well,
Michael
Olave
Thomas has been hurt for like 4 years in a row.
True, but you saw a glimpse of it last year. They re-signed Juwan Johnson, and they also have Olave, who was one of the best wide receivers as a rookie last year. So I'm not counting the Saints out, only because somehow they always seem to be in the mix. But I agree with you. Like, we should be right up there. And I'm too nervous to say anything right now because I don't know how the draft will go or anything else. It is early.
It's early.
But yeah,
the
expectation should be higher for sure.
Every other team's coaching staff, there's not a coach that I really fear. They've all proven that they're not great.
Yeah, I agree
at
with that.
Multiple locations.
Dude, Frank Reich got so much the NFL Twitter was like complimenting the hell out of the Panthers for signing him. I was just like, what has he done?
No, he just was a mediocre team that made the playoffs most years. So, but then they were also out of the playoffs. I don't think they made like an AFC championship, maybe one. But yeah, no, I was kind of confused about that as well. I thought they should have kept their interim guy. I forget his name though.
Oh, for sure, Wilkes.
Yeah,
his name Wilkes.
He's like a local. Yeah.
They love
right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and the team loved him too. Not to mention
local guys from the area. What?
I also wanted to hit on my favorite free agency signing that's not the Falcons, and it's the Dolphins getting Mike White as their backup. And I say this only because Tua is injury prone, and we've seen Mike White can sling it. So I just think if Tua goes down next year, Mike White season, dude.
I'm not saying.
One. Yeah, it happened. It's it wasn't even a big deal, but what I like about it is fantasy implications more than the actual team being good. But Mike White could put up some numbers with Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
What that says to me is that Skylar Thompson is going to be starting at some point next year too, because Mike White gets hurt a fair amount for the amount that he's actually started for the Jets.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see some other ones. Greg Zuerlein signed with the Jets. That's Aaron Rodgers trying to help recruit.
Greg the leg.
The Bucks re-signed their top cornerback on the market, which was Jamal Dean, which we kind of expected that to happen. Patrick Peterson went to the Steelers, and then something today too was I'll say this: the Bears, that trade they made with the Panthers, amazing. They owe Lovie Smith the world. Lovie Smith by winning that game with the Texans, the Bears are all on this trajectory because of Lovie Smith.
So if you guys checked out earlier from the NFL season, it was the last game of the season. The Texans versus the Bears battling it out for the first overall pick. Whoever lost the game was getting the first overall pick. The Texans go on a game-winning drive. And as Lovie Smith is getting fired, booted out the door,
he knows he's going to get fired.
They go on to win, and they lose that pick. And now the Bears have turned that into 5 draft picks and DJ Moore, which
didn't they go for 2 as well to win the game?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. But
big
and it's also hilarious because Lovie Smith used to coach the Bears.
Oh, Bears legend,
and so it's just funny how that worked out. And that's honestly, the Bears needed a wide receiver one so badly, and they haven't had that. I don't even know the last Bears wide receiver.
Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, but that was a while ago, man.
Wait, who was no between them? Oh, what's his name?
When's the last relevant guy that was there?
No, it's not Brandon Marshall. It's the Alshon Jeffrey. That's
okay.
it.
Yeah, but
Alshon Jeffrey's the
that's
last
been
one.
a while.
It's been
He's
a
out
while.
of the league
No,
now.
So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. But they've had a great day too, though. They've signed the Titans offensive line, Nate Davis. They got Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills, from the Bills coming in. And some people like myself was like, well, why would you get him when you already had Roquan Smith? But it's because they play different styles. Edmonds is much more of a thumper than Roquan, who's more of a space filler. Like,
right.
You can go coast to coast a lot easier.
They have the number 1 overall pick, and they didn't have a great year, obviously, but they do feel in the same vein with the Falcons, like they are one off season away from turning the corner. And that's not even to bring up that Aaron Rodgers is leaving the division, which is significant. Yeah. So I think it's probably going to be, Vikings and Bears that are going to be battling it out.
Oh, don't forget the Lions. That's a
Lions
division.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's a competitive division.
Putting the NFC South to shame, really.
Yeah, honestly, I think the NFC South is the worst division.
I'm kind of a Lions fan too. Like I don't know. I
and
like them. They're underdog.
They are underdog. And who knows what they'll be if they're actually favorites this year to win some stuff. But you got to root for them. They're a fun team to root for.
Yeah,
honestly,
you have to. It's fun to have an underdog to root for. Which
that's been us. And then in the days to come, guys, just be on the lookout for more deals, because like I said, this is the beginning of free agency. It's a long off season. We still got the draft ahead of us. There's been more moves to make. I think the part you should be most proud of is Terry Fontenot. Like, he has shown that he makes good decisions and he goes out there and gets his guys. Like, I mean, we're bringing Jesse Bates here, someone like we'd never get in the past to come to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So
it's really encouraging. If you guys want to stay up to date, Blake is very active on Twitter. His Twitter, if you're looking at the YouTube, is down below. Down in the middle at Blursed Blake. Oh my God, that's hard to say consecutively.
Blursed Blake, yeah. Oof, and my profile picture is a picture of Quinn Snyder. Like, I
feel like I have peanut butter stuck to the roof of my mouth.
Blursed Blake.
Blursed Blake. And then also at Blur Sports is our other Twitter. So yeah, check in there. We're gonna start throwing some more TikToks up here soon, I believe, as well. So maybe anything big going down, maybe they'll pop up there. So go follow us on those areas, those platforms, and get some more content.
Yeah, man.
You ready to swang on to the Braves?
Hell yeah,
Braves.
Batter up.
So spring training is in full tilt. Things are heating up. We're about 2 weeks out from opening day, which is really exciting.
Pretty exciting.
Some of these battles are starting to show fruit. There's a lot going on, and the Braves are in a really good spot.
Dealing Dodd, because he's out there dealing. You get
it?
I saw that today. I thought that was funny.
Let's start there. So the 5th starter spot on the team, everybody thought that it's got to be Ian Anderson, Bryce Elder, or Mike Soroka. Soroka has not been able to pitch yet. He's dealing with a hamstring tweak, so he's been out.
So bad for the kid,
dude. He just can't. Man, I feel for him too. He can't.
And the worst part was he was like more promising than Fried.
Yeah, he was the ace at 22 years old.
Yeah.
So, and it's been 3 years since he's pitched professionally. So,
let's talk about that scouting department with the Strider, the Fried, the Soroka. Like,
it's incredible,
good job, guys.
Yeah,
good job.
And Cappy, our old GM, he set us up for a lot of that before he got in trouble and kicked out of the league and stuff like that. So he cut some corners, help AA out there. But yeah, so for that 5th starter spot, we thought it was going to be one of those guys, Elder, Anderson, or Soroka, and it hasn't been those guys performing yet in spring training. So if they wrap up spring training and they start putting together some good games, maybe we see them up. But our number 1 prospect, Jared Schuster, has been dealing. He has a 1 ERA right now, which is significant. He has a very low walk hits per innings pitched, compared to like Ian Anderson, which is like over 1, as well as Bryce Elder. I mean, both their ERAs, which it's hard to fall back on stats in spring training because you're working on stuff. So especially because we can't watch the games. Because MLB, what are you doing? But anyways, I digress. The young guys are looking good, and Dylan Dodd is the other one. That both of those guys are actually pitching really well. I would love to go into the season and have the guy up that's performing the best. because we saw what happened last year. We didn't do that. We kind of just dragged our feet a little bit, and we didn't move Strider into the rotation. That's one of the reasons we got it off to such a slow start, because our back end of our rotation was not solid at all.
No.
And, we were lucky to get the performances we did out of Kyle Wright.
Well, Charlie also struggled at the beginning last year, and I think a lot of it had to do with the broken foot. I know he said he's not worried about his ERA right now in the spring training because he's working on things. Like he said, he's working on the new pitch count. He's working on a couple.
He's a veteran guy too. Like, so you trust it when he says like he's working on stuff, and I'm not as worried about it. I would assume that he is going to come back healthy. Like, he didn't have the full offseason to do his full routine last year because he was rehabbing from the broken leg. But yeah, so hopefully the full spring training this year, not having to deal with rehab, and he comes out and he's just performing, because at the tail end of last year he was solid too. And then, so we'll see how that battle ends up here. I'll be posting some TikToks about the Braves going into the season. But yeah, that's what we're looking at the 5th starter position right now. And then there was also an article, we had talked about Max Fried a little bit at the end of last year and kind of what happened in the playoffs. The dude lost 15 pounds between his last regular season start and the playoff start against the Phillies last year.
Was this because of anxiety?
No, he was sick.
Oh, just sick. Yeah, I saw another article about how
ill.
He used to battle anxiety, and he's like figured out how to conquer that, which you can tell. Like, he's a demon out there on the mound.
Yeah.
So he was sick, like flu or.
Yeah, I think he had the flu or something. But yeah, that's why he's a little weak. His velocity was down. He got lit up. So, I'm not going to hold that start against him, but ready to put the Phillies series in the
series. Yeah. They couldn't.
Man, thank God the Phillies didn't win the World Series.
Oh God, it would have been awful.
Because none of this
almost
matters.
as the Mets winning a playoff series.
None of this matters that the Phillies went to the World Series, because they lost. It's great.
What
else is going on spring training? Matt Olson is looking good. Vaughn Grissom is hitting well. His fielding is mediocre. So what we might see is Vaughn is probably going to start a lot of games and be in the lineup, getting at bats. And then if it's a tight game near the end, Arcia is going to be coming in as like more of a platoon defensive substitution, to make sure that we don't give up any errors or runs due to shortstop inexperience. But that's shaping up pretty well right now as well.
I saw Ozuna is also having a pretty good spring, which is like surprising. As of late, he's come on, hit a couple doubles today.
Ozuna's kind of been funny this spring because there's something that's called like split team games. So there'll be multiple spring training games going on at the same time, split squad. So like a lot of the time you'll send like your starters, they'll stay at the home stadium, and then your B team goes and plays on the road. And so Ozuna has been with the road team like almost the whole spring training. So a lot of people are theorizing that if he doesn't have a good spring, if he doesn't wrap up well, we may cut bait. So that's the amount of depth that we have right now. And so, now that we're talking about Ozuna and his position is left field, that's the other spot that is really an open battle right now. And so, it was Ozuna that we signed to a big contract, but really he was a DH. So we don't know if he's going to be in the lineup that much either. He might be a bench bat because Sean Murphy's probably a better hitter than him.
For sure.
And we know
Darno does too. Yeah. Darno is way. Yeah.
We definitely know Darno is. So we'll see how he slots in, but we don't want Ozuna out there defensively either.
Who would start left field then?
So it's going to be down to Eddie Rosario.
Oh yeah, got you. Super Rosario.
So he's actually playing for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic right now, and he had a home run, so that was encouraging in competitive baseball, which is not spring training.
Yeah, I see that.
So it's good to see him making some contact after coming back from the eye surgery. So hopefully he's probably the favorite to like win the position and like.
Which I hope so. Like I think he's a fan favorite too. Like I think we root for him.
I mean, he's a Braves legend for sure.
Yes. I mean, we don't win a World Series without him.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
So he's a stud, and hopefully he gets it back. So really what we're going to be doing is probably platooning left field. And so hopefully Ozuna's not out there. He's just such a liability. But the other guys that are performing right now, Eli White, who is a guy I think we might have brought up, but it's one of the many left outfielders that AA brought in this offseason to basically battle it out in
To
spring
compete.
training. He had 2 home runs today, I think. He has one other home run earlier in spring training. He's got really good speed. He wasn't really expected to be the guy to break camp, but it's seeming like he might get an opportunity if he stays hot. The other guys are Sam Hilliard, who is most well known for playing with the Rockies. He's playing pretty well this spring training as well. And then,
do you think it helps to play with like better players too? Like when you come from these teams that haven't been performing as well, like Matt Olson from last year, Sean Murphy coming here this year, like I think it has to help.
I think a lot of it's just a perspective change, and then it can be
True. Culture change.
Baseball's so weird, man. It can be like if you hear somebody say something a little bit different. If somebody tells you like, "Oh, you need to do this," and just different terminology, it can change your whole approach.
Click with you,
and that happens a lot with the Braves because we're a well-run organization. Like the right people are around. Like it's good to have Chipper back in the organization as a hitting consultant, and he just the guy knows hitting. He did it for so long.
And he lived the Braves. He stayed with us his entire career.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's honestly what we thought Freddie would be. See you, Freddie. We miss you. But you know what I mean? Like, it's Chipper's my favorite player to ever play for the Braves.
Yeah.
If we're just going to talk about Chipper real quick. Like, I mean,
Me too.
when I first started watching baseball, Chipper was my guy. Also, I saw an article recently too talking about how in a time where advanced analytics and everything are taking baseball by storm, you have a management for the Braves organization of just a bunch of old heads who are like still getting it done because you have Ron Washington, Snicker, like it's cool, like it's different.
Yeah, it's more like the coaching is more old school probably, although we don't.
But they're down to earth, really like open.
But
with young
I think
guys.
the front office kind of like knows that that's the case, and like they're doing all the newer stuff and like analytics and not having to letting Snit do his thing, getting the guys ready, coaching them up, and then letting them play.
Did you see another team pulled an AA? Signing their rookie to signing a player out of
it was the
arbitration.
Diamondbacks. It was Corbin,
Diamondbacks, yes.
Corbin Carroll, I think. But he
I think
got like
right.
an 8-year deal. They bought out his arbitration, which I was kind of
happening.
I was wondering why no one else was doing it. So I don't know if they can't get. I gotta imagine
their players to agree to it.
I gotta imagine that they just aren't offering that to their players.
I think so.
Because,
I think teams,
there's 2 schools of thought. You can just ride out those years of low pay, and then you can bring in these other free agents and pay them a lot. So then you're balancing out the books that way. Or the Braves approach, which is just paying everybody pretty well and buying out those arbitration years, and then you have a bunch of long-term pieces. So, especially with a team like the Diamondbacks, because they're not a large market team, really.
Right.
And they're trying to compete with the Dodgers and the Padres, who are spending like crazy. The
Padres are spending like there's no tomorrow. They're spending like
they re-signed Manny Machado to another long-term deal, which is nuts. But yeah, I think they found that the Padres, they're the only team in San Diego left, and I think the fan base is really rallying behind that, and they're making money. They're figuring out if we have better players in here, we can pay our players more, and we're going to make more money and sell more merch and sell more food and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it goes on. And so it's tough when you're competing with those teams that are spending so much, because that's what the Rockies and Diamondbacks are trying to do.
We're educationally gambling too, though. Like you're giving these players the money because there's a chance they outperform these contracts for sure. I mean, you're already seeing with Austin Riley, you're already seeing with Acuna, you've already seen with Albies. Like you're hoping to see it with Strider, you're hoping to see it with Michael Harris. But like Austin Riley is probably one of the most bang for your buck contracts in the MLB. Him and Acuna both. I mean, Acuna is probably the most bang for your buck, $10 million a year. But
those two, Austin Riley and Acuna, are MVP candidates. I honestly think that Matt Olson could be in that conversation as well if he breaks out this year, which he's capable of doing.
Oh, for sure.
And that's not even to mention Michael Harris. He's so young, but you do not see left-handed hitters hitting opposite field home runs. And I'm not talking like he's not hitting a left center gap home run. He's hitting it down the line and left, and it's going out. That's how much pop that he has, and it's so unusual to see that. And he uses all fields, and man, he's so strong for being like a smaller guy.
I thought it was gonna be tough to replace Freddie in my heart for him, like with Matt Olson coming in, but he's such a likable dude. Like he's so likable. He's always smiling, like that big grin. Like you want to root for the guy.
He's so gosh darn handsome too. That doesn't hurt.
Oh god, it doesn't hurt. It can't hurt. Never will.
And
That's why y'all like our show. That's why you watch us.
People worry about replacing. People worried about replacing Dansby. And I don't. It just didn't have to happen like that because he was the clubhouse leader, but. There's 9 guys on the team that fill that role.
When Dansby bats 257 this year,
oh man,
I'm gonna feel so like.
I hope it's lower than that.
Like,
so yeah.
Oh, you want to be lower than that,
dude? Have you been seeing what he's said like to Chicago press and media? Basically, it's like
is he shit talking the Braves.
He was kind of shit talking all of Atlanta sports. We probably need to pull up exactly what he said, but something along the lines of like people actually care about professional sports in Chicago, and it's a big deal here, like referencing that people don't care in Atlanta. So the
Braves are the most loved team in Atlanta. The Braves are the one team that doesn't matter how good they do every year, fans go to those games.
The problem is these guys don't realize like if they just phrased it a different way, like I love how much the fans care here. But like the way he's phrasing it is a shot against Atlanta fans. Which why do you want to piss off like the people like used to root for you? Because if you go out on good terms like Freddie, well that was messy, but good terms with the fans at least. Like we didn't want him to leave, he didn't want to leave. Blah blah blah.
I will always love Freddie.
Yeah, but like we still root for Freddie. I hope Freddie does well. Yeah. I always will. Unless he starts talking shit about Atlanta fans, then I'm gonna be like, oh well, fuck him.
Here's the thing with Freddie. I hope Freddie does great. I hate the Dodgers though, so I want Freddie to hit 350 and the Dodgers, the rest of the team, bat for less than 100. Like that's how I feel about the Dodgers.
I'm cool with that.
But for my thing for Dansby is I bet he listened to the silent majority, or not the loud minority. Is what I'm trying to say. The loud minority who were talking shit about Dansby all the time. Like, I'm sorry, Dansby. I'm not going to coddle you and say you're the superstar that you're not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. We're real about.
Oh, we're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry you had to go make millions of dollars. I'm just kidding. He earned it. I'm not going to try to take that away from him.
He had a good year, but like, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see if he can actually maintain that in Chicago, which,
hey,
admittedly, it is a more intense atmosphere, like as far as fan bases go. Like,
what are they going to say when he starts batting 250?
They're the kind of fans that'll start booing you, I'm pretty sure. Like, same with like Phillies fans, Mets fans, Yankees fans.
Oh, I think Chicago's a little softer than Philadelphia, right?
I don't know.
I think so. I mean, Jason Hayward went up there and was terrible.
They turned on Hayward very quickly. He's quietly having a very good spring training too with the Dodgers. So he's trying to make that.
Oh, he's with the Dodgers, of course.
Yeah, of course he is.
Naturally.
I'm trying to think of anything else. So as far as the World Baseball Classic goes, Eddie is playing for Puerto Rico. As I mentioned earlier, Acuna is playing for Venezuela. I'm trying to think if we have any other guys that are going.
Didn't a team recently just set the record for most runs scored? It was like Japan or something like that recently. The most runs scored in World Baseball Classic.
World
Baseball Classic.
So like in the U.S., like World Baseball Classic is just not a big deal. It feels like. I mean, there's some people that are watching it, but around the world, I think it's important. So they're trying to grow it so that way. Increase the fan base of MLB, but
Canada beat Great Britain. The 26 combined runs was the new record for most in the WBC game ever.
Oh, that's not that bad. But yeah, Freddie's on Canada because his mother was Canadian, I believe.
Can you not make the U.S. team?
Just kidding. Well, he's probably a little bit past his prime to be on the U.S. team. Paul Goldschmidt is the first baseman who he was.
That makes sense.
I think he won the MVP last year in the National League.
I think so. I mean, if he didn't, he was right there at it. He had a great year. What a resurgence year by Paul Goldschmidt. I thought he was like kind of going down a little bit, but no,
just rock solid, man. The Cardinals are another organization like the Braves that always get, it feels like they get the most out of their players.
I think that's a fair comparison too, because like the Braves, they don't overpay. Like they're not making these monster contracts. They get guys who just perform at their spot. Then other fans around the league don't understand why we value certain players as well. Like I feel like Ozzie Albies has to be one of the most slept on players in Major League Baseball.
Man, everybody's forgotten about him, and I can't wait. I hope he stays healthy and has a good year. He's a good guy too. So I'm counting on him having a good year. Sure,
I'm right there
that
with
middle
you.
infield.
Anything else Braves related?
I don't think so. That's the gist of it.
Let's talk
mosey on
Hawks.
over to the Hawks.
Hawks.
Hawks. All right, everybody. So Coach Quinn Snyder is your coach. Thank God. Oh, God,
I don't know if we discussed that yet.
We did. I think we did talk about it
Okay.
2 weeks ago. But since All-Star break, the Hawks have been 5-4. It's not the greatest record, but if you look at our 4 losses, twice were to the Heat, one was to Boston, and one was to Washington. You really wish you could have won the Washington game and one of those Heat games. That's okay. We're learning a new system under a new coach. Something Coach Quinn's been preaching to the team is stop over helping on the when they go to the rim, because a lot of times we're leaving people open on the 3-point line as we over help to go inside and they dish it out, and a 3 is always worse than 2. Yeah,
give up the 2.
Yeah, give up the 2 over the 3. Trust your big guys too. You have really good defensive bigs on the team. Let them play defense.
Sure.
He's also been coaching meet the ball attackers at the 3-point line, so that way you're helping your big guys not have to go on full blast from the 3-point line all the way back. So currently we're 1.5 games behind the Heat right now for 7th. We're 5 games behind from 6, which is tough. We have 14 games left. There's still a chance we catch the Nets. I just don't we're gonna have to win. You got to win at least 9 games probably to catch the Nets. You have to go 9-5, and then you have to hope. If you go 9-5, you have to hope they go 14 games. They have to lose 5 more than you, so they'd have to go 4-10. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know if we catch the Nets. We'd have to go hot. If we went 13-3 or something like that, we could catch them. The thing is, right now though, you're trying to avoid playing Boston because Boston is the hardest matchup for us. We just lost to them. We had a close game. Honestly, I feel like the refs. I hate NBA refs, man. I don't think they like us, and maybe it's because they think Trae Young's a punk, but I don't know. I feel like they're do a horrible job officiating our games. But anyways, Boston's the worst matchup for us just because they shoot the 3 so effectively from every position, and our wings just can't cover their wings as well. They got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, 2 of the best wings in basketball.
Yep.
The 109 points is the lowest we've scored since the All-Star break. I just want to point that out because our offense has been clicking. We actually have the where's this tweet go? I have to bring up my notes. We have the 4th highest, I want to say. We have the 3rd highest offensive rating since the All-Star break at 124.2. So that means you're scoring 1.24 points per possession. That's incredible. You're almost scoring over a point per possession. Our problem is our defense has also been bad during this time. So Quinn's working on it. We all knew it wasn't going to be fixed overnight. I see fans already saying we should have kept Prunty or it's dude, this is his. He didn't even get it. He has more games than he does practices right now. He's coached more games than practices.
So many hyperbolic fans. Let's have a little perspective here.
Yeah, the team's looked better. We've looked more competitive. If you look at the games, even the ones we've lost a couple by 2 points, but we've at least been competing at the end. Trae has been electric.
Trey's been playing great. DJM has been playing great.
Yeah, so Trae has shot 46% from the field, 41.4% from 3-point percentage, which he was shooting 30 to begin the year, 91.2% from free throw. He's averaging 3 rebounds, 1.8 steals, so almost 2 steals a game, which he's playing defense, 9.3 assists, and 27.3 points. Trae has been one of the best players in all of basketball since the All-Star break, and Quinn's unlocking his efficiency to a level there's a press conference today, or not press conference, there's a little interview today before the game because they're playing the Timberwolves tonight, where he was talking about how's your relationship going with the players. And he spoke about DJM, and he spoke about Trae Young. He said with Trae, he goes, Trae wants to be the best player out there. So I'm working with him on the ways he can be better. And part of it is working on being more efficient, how to take the ball here, what to do here to cause less turnovers. And Trae's buying in. Trae's already had, there's been several pieces where Trae's complimented Quinn already. He likes Coach Quinn. I think Coach Quinn and him just see similarly. And I think he Coach Quinn's offense is more modern than McMillan's ever was. I don't know. I'm happy for, again, watching the Hawks. Even watching them lose hasn't been that bad because we've been competitive. It hasn't been beat downs. We've gotten beat down once, and that was to the Heat. But, it's going to happen from time to time. Heat are just a hard matchup for the Hawks as well. But overall, I've been tickled, to be honest, as a Hawks fan. I'm very excited.
Did you say tickled?
Tickled, yeah. I've been tickled. I'm very excited for next year. I do believe either Bogey, JC, or Clint Capella won't be with us next year, or all 3, or a mixture of the 3.
Just not on the team. They'll probably be alive still.
Yeah, just won't be with us on the team, exactly. Yeah, JC hasn't been too great since Quinn's got here, and it's not his fault. His role in the offense, he doesn't do great with spacing. He hasn't been a good shooter since his finger has been hurt. And Okongwu and Jalen Johnson and Okongwu are just better fits with the team right now, so I don't hate it. As you're watching these, yeah.
What do you think is like AJ Griffin's fit long term?
Okay, so AJ Griffin hasn't been playing. He's been a DNP, which means did not participate the last since Quinn's got here. And there's a couple of reasons there's been a couple of reasons to that. So one was Coach Quinn only plays 9 guys. Like that's his rotation. He only wants to play 9. I get it. You're trying to get the continuity with the team. You're trying to get the same rotation so they play well together. AJ Griffin was on what I'm trying to say. He was really cold from his shooting 3 points. He's been playing not so well before this, so it made sense to kind of keep him out. And then to answer your question, I think he'll take Bogey's spot next year. So when Bogey leaves us, AJ Griffin will be our shooting guard, our backup shooting, our 6th man basically. He's going to be great on defense, and he's going to be great. Like he's an electric shooter. So like we need him. He's just not playing right now because we need Jalen Johnson more. Jalen Johnson can push pace with the ball. He can rebound better, and he's a better defender as of right now. A lot of people have been upset, like, oh, I thought he was supposed to unlock AJ Griffin. He hasn't done anything for AJ Griffin. It's like he's playing our best 9 guys right now. We're trying to win basketball games so we can make the playoffs.
It's not like he's doing nothing. He's training in the background still.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're still practicing.
They're working together. Yeah,
they are. Okongwu has shot more threes under Coach Quinn than he did his entire first couple of years, basically in basketball. So Quinn's pushing them to do better, like to have more confidence. He's working with each player on what they bring to the table. If you look at our last 14 games, I would say you have like 10 really winnable games. The harder ones are going to be the Celtics, the 76ers, and the Warriors, only because we don't play the Warriors that well. And you play the Mavs. But I feel like we played the Mavs pretty well. So, I mean, you could go out there and go 10-4 these last 14 games. You could go out there and go 11-3 the last 14 games, or you go out there and go 7-7. I wouldn't be surprised about any of that. I would hate we go 7-7, but it's a new coach. We're still figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
The team's not exactly where we want it to be, but everything I've seen so far has been positive and is trending the right direction.
It's good that we have the coach in place. He's building on that system. If we make it to the playoffs and win a couple games, that's great. But at least
you're getting buy-in too.
We're not going into the offseason with a question mark now.
Yes, you're going into the offseason too.
Core together
with a more positive approach from the players. Like they're happier. Like that's the thing is like you can see it on their faces. You can see after the games. You can see it in the way they play, how much more competitive they've been, even in the losses. And then 2, you could maybe steal a series from someone if you don't play. I don't know if you steal a series from Boston, but you play some of these other teams, like they're getting coached up well enough now where I don't think a team wants to play the Hawks early. Like I think they'd rather avoid the Hawks over the, like if you're asking me, if you're say one of these top seeds, who you'd rather play between the Hawks, Raptors, Bulls, Heat, or Knicks, I feel like the Hawks have to be low down the list. Same with the Knicks probably, because the Knicks have actually been pretty well, and I think they actually finished with the 5th seed. But in the Nets, let's say that, I think the Hawks are the team you'd rather at least like to play if you're one of the top seeds out of those 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah,
because you got Trae Young and you got a good coach now. So
also you have like nothing to lose almost. Like the season's not lost, but it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's house money. You're playing with house money.
Yeah. Anything that happens that goes well, it's plus. Anything that goes poorly doesn't really matter.
You shake it off. It's not a big deal. It's a building block. And that's the coolest part about this is Quinn's using everything as a learning lesson. He's literally said that we need to learn how to close out away games. We need to learn how to close out a game in general. You need to learn how to shoot more efficiently, shoot more threes, play better defense. Like all those things are happening.
Yep.
I think if you haven't watched a press conference of Coach Quinn after a game, do it. Like it's so refreshing to listen to him answer questions and talk about even in the losses. Like he knows basketball. Yes, he knows the game, and it's just been a breath of fresh air. Nice. It's not the same like caveat answers I would hear under Nate McMillan all the time, so that's nice. and it's probably like Nate spoiled or like soiled on me a little bit, soured on me a little bit. Soiled on me. He soured on me a little bit.
It's a different kind of show.
Yeah, I don't like that. So maybe that's why the Nate stuff kind of stopped. But Coach Quinn, I think we got the right guy. Very excited about him.
Yeah, I felt like Nate was always a little bit more tongue in cheek. He's a little more secretive. It felt like he didn't. But this guy,
Yes.
Quinn seems like he's putting the cards on the table.
He's
just
very
being
transparent.
honest. Yeah, which is nice.
And I think vulnerability goes a long way with our generation and younger.
Yeah.
And he's being vulnerable in a way that I don't think Nate ever was.
Don't treat the fans like they're idiots, like, because, we know what's going on.
Or the players, too. Like,
yeah,
meet them where they're at. Like, be vulnerable. Coach Quinn was talking about how have you bonded with the players. He goes, well, talk about family. Talk about a friend. We talk about life beyond just basketball. And it's true.
At the end of the day, they're coworkers,
Yeah.
They have to get along.
They are. You have to. And I know people always say, well, you don't owe your work anything. But, like, if you want to get the most out of work and get the most out of your employees, if you're a boss, be vulnerable with them. It's not the whole barter system. Like, you do this for me and I pay you. It's, we're here together. I got your back. You got mine. Like, that's where the best working conditions are. So if I'm making you rethink your career right now, it's never too late.
Oh, I'm rethinking it. Yeah.
Well, we're about to take off and go to the moon on this Blur Sports. So
yeah, I mean, have you seen these graphics that we have? Unbelievable.
Yeah, guys, keep listening. Share with your friends so we can all quit our day jobs and
oh my gosh! Just wait. We'll get a Patreon going. We'll make merch. Do anything. To not be an accountant anymore. And then I'll have to be doing our own QuickBooks. OnlyFans.
There we go.
Did you say OnlyFans?
Let's talk about Aaron.
I totally whiffed on that. Oh yeah. Everybody check out Aaron's OnlyFans.
Everyone check out OnlyFans. Yeah, but that's all I got about the Hawks right now. You want to hop on to Atlanta United?
5 stripes.
5 stripes. Aaron's not here, so I will talk about the 5 stripes for you. This is the best start in Atlanta United history, which is awesome because we've won the championship before, and so it's better than that season. We're 2-1 or 2-0-1. We have 2 wins, 1 tie. The tie hurt because we felt like we could have won that game, but this last game, you could not have asked for a more flawless game. You go up 1-0 in the first 4 minutes of the game. Caleb Wiley, our young, he's gonna play strikers like a left wing. Scores really early. We get an interception, scores early. And then Luis Arujo, who was a player last year who I felt like was really talented, but we could never get the most out of him. Had a great game, flying all over the field. He also had a goal, and then Caleb Wiley scored again later in the game. Really all I have to say about this is Almada is that guy, and I'm glad Moreno's not here this year because I believe Aaron wanted me to mention how like they kind of played the same position, so it was a little bit of overlapping last year. So you weren't really getting the most out of both of them. Secondly, we're not even playing at full health right now. Like, we're a healthy team, but our starting striker still hasn't played yet. So the guy we got from Greece. So that's only going to make us even better. And lastly, something Aaron wanted me to hit on with, this is something I was talking about too, is that I think we gave Pineda a lot of crap last year. But like, obviously we lost Miles Robinson. We lost Guzan, who's like, that's our core of our defense was gone. So, of course, we're going to get more goals. But 2, Pineda and Martinez just did not get along. Like, they saw it separately. I was talking to some people at the watch party this weekend who probably know more soccer than I do. And he was just saying he thought, like, Martinez is like, no, I know how to win, so I don't want to listen to what you have to say because I don't agree. And he just wasn't the buy-in there that you need.
It's tough when it's like your club veteran to
your best player in your history of your team. Yeah. And so then it's just a bad example for everybody else. So,
yep.
I think that's why you're seeing new breath of fresh air from this 5 stripes. Obviously, like I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch because it's still early in the season and we're not playing the greatest teams yet. But what a promising start! And if you're a 5 stripes fan, it's good at the game. It's affordable. It's electric, and let's keep the training going, man. Yeah, the momentum going.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You look at the standings. We're in first place right now in the Eastern Conference. So.
Atlanta United's so back.
We're so back. We were never gone, man.
Quick turnaround. Well, maybe a little bit.
We were gone a little bit. A couple more things to hit on before we close the pod.
Oh,
KSU. Wait, do you have?
Oh, I thought we were doing UGA.
No. I don't. UGA. We fizzled out in the SEC tournament.
We lost to LSU.
Yeah, I'll just say this about UGA. It was a promising debut for Mike White and the Dogs as a season for his first season. It's a good building block. We'll build on it next year. Here's my thing. Recruit some guys out of Atlanta. You have too many great basketball players coming out of Atlanta. You only need 2 good basketball players on your team to really compete in college basketball. So get your 2. Let's go. You don't need a whole team.
Especially while Georgia Tech's kind of in turmoil. Like, they just fired their coach.
But they had a pretty good hire today for what they could. So Georgia Tech, unfortunately for them, the last couple of coaches they've had, they've fired them early, and so they've been eating a lot of the contracts. But they went out and got the
Love it.
Boston's assistant coach today. I think his name's I'm gonna pick it up. Tech's basketball. They hired you type in Tech and it goes to Texas Tech. I feel like everyone should go to Georgia Tech. All right. They hired Damon Stoudemire today, who is the Boston Celtics, one of their assistant coaches. This is, I mean, really good hire for them for as much as they could get. Maybe lead to promising for them. But the real talk of the town in college basketball in Atlanta is Kennesaw State. They made the dance, man.
Hell yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they
so
win
they
the
played-
Sun Belt?
I think that's what it is, or I think
gotta
so.
be. It's gotta be.
But they play Xavier, who is actually pretty good, in the first round on Friday. So I don't know if they make it out of their first round. Maybe they could be a cool pick for an upset if you're into that kind of thing. They beat Liberty they're in the Atlantic Sun tournament. Yes, the Sun Belt. So they could be a fun pick over Xavier. They're the 14 seed. Xavier's the number 3 seed. It doesn't happen often, but really kudos to Kennesaw. Shame on Tech. Shame on Georgia for not being able to make it.
Did Georgia State make it?
I don't think they did this year. I think Kennesaw is the only one to make. But Georgia State, to their credit, have made it several times in the last couple of years.
Well,
but no, they didn't.
Didn't they beat Duke or something years ago?
Georgia State had a bad year this year, actually. No, they didn't beat Duke, but they beat someone in the first round. I can't remember who.
They weren't supposed to.
Yeah. So yeah, fill out your March Madness brackets this week, though. I don't watch too much college. I don't watch too much college basketball, but I always love filling out the bracket at the end and act like I know what I'm doing. I'm
so lazy. I usually do the randomizer or whatever, just because like that's probably gonna be better than what I'm gonna.
You're not wrong. So here, I'm gonna give everyone a little hint because I took some screenshots today from Twitter from something that. So here's something. Here it is. 100% of national champions since 2002 have been both a top 40 Ken Pom offense and top 22 defense. I don't know what the acronym stands for.
Pantheon?
It's KENPOM. Ken Pom.
Ken Pom.
I don't know what it stands for, but they've been a top 40 offense and a top 22 defense. 100% of the national champion winners. So if you're trying to base it off that, some of the favorites could be Alabama, Creighton, Houston, Kansas, Texas, UConn, and UCLA. So you're trying to go with one of those teams. I hear a lot of people's favorites are Houston and Kansas. Duke just made a run in the ACC tournament. They're always a fun pick. Auburn still look good. Purdue had a good season. TCU is another dark horse. So I don't know. I'd probably go with Houston or go Alabama, pick an SEC team.
I usually Kansas sounds like a hot name. They win one every couple of years, so
it's been a while too for them. They're due.
Yeah,
they're due. You heard it here first.
That's my college basketball take. I don't watch any. So,
but March Madness is fun for everybody. So
yeah,
if you're a guy around, I guess 40 years old, it's the best time to go get the snip so you can sit at home and watch college basketball for 2 straight days because basketball starts at noon, baby.
Jeez,
this is the most common time of the year for that to happen.
It's pretty
because
bizarre.
Of that reason.
Yeah,
that's because you have 2 straight days of nothing but college basketball all day. It's pretty funny.
Jeez.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, there you go. Unexpected take.
Yeah, you didn't know that was coming. That's why you're here.
So you got anything else you want to discuss before we dip out of here?
I don't. To look ahead, I really don't, man.
I'm going to this weekend. We're going up to a festival that's called Frozen Dead Guy Festival in Estes Park, and it's they have
Where'd
coffin
the name come
from a frozen dead guy. So I'm excited about that. I just saw that they have a bowling alley that has skulls in the bowling ball. So hoping to partake in that. They have coffin races. There's gonna be people dressed up like frozen dead people. They have a costume contest. They have
that's pretty
bands
cool
and stuff. Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped about that. So we'll see how that goes.
Sounds like a good time. I get to flex off work Friday, so I'm gonna have a nice, relaxing weekend. I went on a conference last week for 4 days into working Saturday, so I'm exhausted. I go to another conference tomorrow, so I'm exhausted. I just need to get to Thursday so I can rest. So that's where I am this week. But I'm hoping for more entertaining signings for the Falcons.
Yeah, we'll have to stay.
There might not be
on
many,
that.
but
there might be some right now while we're talking.
Yeah, and if you want to see my take on it, follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, you know what?
Blake.
This makes it a lot easier to run through all our platforms. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all other podcast platforms.
YouTube. Wait,
we have
YouTube,
a Twitch.
YouTube again.
Yeah,
we have
if
a
you're
Twitch.
yeah, you'll see
we're
our
talking.
YouTube right there.
If you're join our Discord, and if you join our Discord, tell us about how you feel about the pod, and tell us about this idea. We're talking about eventually maybe doing some live streams on a Sunday occasionally or something like that for some more interactions. So just stay up to date.
If you want to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, that is at Blursed Sports. You can follow Blake at Blursed Blake. Oof, nailed it that time. You can follow me at Blursed Hayden, or you can follow Aaron at @A_Kais.
We also got Blursed Aaron or Blursed Kais as well.
Yeah, he doesn't use that one that much.
True.
We're still trying to make up our mind about that. But anyways, thanks everybody for listening. Check out this music from our boy Oh No. Hopefully we get some news soon. Thanks for listening, everybody. Leave likes, reviews, comments, whatevs.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.